Good afternoon again. I'm still going to talk about the pyramids, but only for a second. It's the comments, isn't it? Right? All of this. What's it mostly about? It's pyramids, isn't it? Egyptians. Now, why is it so important to know how they got the stones out of the quarry, right? How they dug them out with copper hand tools. It's a question, it's so triggering. When you don't know how the stones were extracted from somewhere to build the pyramids, how do you know that the Egyptians were the people who took the stones out? This has got nothing to do with the Egyptians. It's physically impossible. Not only is it logistically impossible, but it's physically impossible to get the stones out. Now, this is a common sense thing, okay? Now, 25,000 Egyptians, 20 years, just Pyramid Giza, okay? It wouldn't matter how many Egyptians it was, really. It really wouldn't. So we have 20 years for Pyramid Giza. That was 7,300 days. Right? We have 6.5 million tons. We divide the 6.5 million tons by the 20 years, and it worked out at 890 tons per day. Right? This is to build the pyramids. We knock that down to hourly, so we divide this by 24, and it was 37 something, I'm sure. 37 tons every single hour. This is over 20 years, okay? Now, this is where common sense kicks in. The importance of knowing how they got the stones out of the quarry in the first place. When they say it took 20 years, 37 tons every hour, it's almost insinuated that all of the stones were already at the Giza Plateau waiting just to be stacked up properly into pyramids. That is the basic building time from when the first block was put onto the Giza Plateau until the last one was finished on Pyramid Giza. There's a little bit of stuff missing. This could be classed as the third step. The third and final. Right? There's a step and another step. So let's go to the second step. The second step would be transporting the 6.5 million tons that were broken down into 2,300,000 2.5 ton stones, plus a lot of other stuff. This is just the basic building blocks. Transporting. And then, of course, step one. The extraction of the stones from somewhere. Extraction. Now, it took 20 years. But hang on. Is that 20 years including all of the transporting of that 6.5 million tons of stone? And does that 20 years include the extraction of that stone? Just using copper hand tools. What do you think would take the longest? Extracting 6.5 million tons of stone with copper hand tools, right? Transporting all of that stone without a wheel, somehow getting it onto boats, somehow getting it off of the boats. I was going to say somehow getting them through hundreds of kilometers of desert. But luckily I remembered that was very, very doable, wasn't it? Just a little spray of water. All right, you two, start pushing. Only 800 kilometers to go. There'll be somebody a little bit further down with another spray can of water so that they slide. Don't push them too hard because there are a lot of the stones that are getting away from us. Nice and steady. 20 years. When they say it took 20 years to build, it doesn't include this. There is this stuff, leaning. You cannot underestimate common sense, because common sense is what spots all these things. All of these educated PhDs, bachelors, university degrees and other stuff. Why have these things been missed? Why is it that they are coming up with all of those theories? Why is it that actual Egyptology, people major in Egyptology? See, I always go back to the very basic building blocks of this civilization. It's money, wealth, power. When you can claim knowledge that cannot be known and get away with it, the world is your oyster, whether it's flat or round. It's the biggest fear is people thinking for themselves. I mean, if everybody thought like me, we'd be difficult. We wouldn't believe stuff. We wouldn't be able to be hustled and fooled that easily by people who are constantly claiming knowledge that can obviously not be known. Now, it's extremely important to know where the stones came from, how they extracted them from any quarry wall with just copper hand tools, because the facts are they couldn't have. It's impossible. All of these qualified folk with PhDs coming out of the briefcase that they had back in the car, these are the people. You should see the amount of theories. What are they called? Ancient, what are they called? Theoreticians. All of it is horseradish. They have somehow managed to suppress step 1 and step 2 on a lot of things and then go on to claim loads of crap. But why are you guys not understanding? I'm hoping that you're picking up and benefiting from some of the stuff that I'm saying here. You cannot go on to how they transported them and yada 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 and how they built them without knowing how, if it was the Egyptians. It obviously wasn't. All of the books and everything, it gets to a stage, we're at the stage, where there's so much other stuff behind it, in between that and now, that it seems ridiculous to even question it, isn't it? But it's not, because today is propped up on what we were told yesterday. And if yesterday suddenly shifts, everything shifts. And the focus will be on the liars, won't it? Now, you need to know, you need to understand how the stones were quarried by the Egyptians. I used to say, all these people who think they know everything, and they bag us for speaking up, for questioning something, right? You say you have a theory for how they built the pyramids. There should be a minimum requirement from now on. I don't know how long ago I said this. You have a theory, name, address, yeah, okay, right. Over there is a quarry. And see that there? There's loads of copper hand tools. All you need to do for us to print your theory is just extract one stone, 2.5 ton stone. I understand it might be a little bit inconvenient, short notice, but you have from now until you decide to give up and bring as many friends as you want with you, and you can all use its complementary copper hand tools, just one stone. And then we'll talk about printing your theory into our new non-Mickey Mouse, pure logic and common sense orientated Egyptians built the pyramids theory book. You'll find that nobody will ever get another theory in there, because it's impossible to extract one single stone. Therefore, you cannot go on to step 2, because everybody's still stuck at step 1. And to go on to step 3, knowing you don't have step 2, and knowing that everybody's still stuck on step 1, it's just this fantasy land, isn't it? It's a fantasy land. Now, just quickly, 2 minutes. Keep it under 15. See, it's exactly the same as a solar eclipse, working with Mickey Mouse photons. The minimum requirement would be a proper logical explanation for how a solar eclipse can play out with finite light with an 8-minute and 20-second delay. Because it cannot be. It cannot be. So if that cannot be, the photon thing, it's in a little bit of hot water, isn't it? It really is. I know it is. Pure logic and common sense. If you cannot explain something that everybody can see, and that directly relates to the light that they're talking about, why would anybody believe anything after it? It's A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, logic and common sense. That's all it is. It's not about science, this one. It's about common sense. Back up. No, right back. Right back. Right, where are we at? We are at, there's a pop-up, go. Please be under 15. 14, 19. Right, guys. I wanted to do water. A couple of comments. Maybe should have said this yesterday, but I just presume that it would be obvious, but obviously. So when they say built the pyramids in a certain amount of time, multiply it by 3, because the extraction would take just as long. And I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be a disco transporting either. I will be back hopefully today with some stuff on water levels and, laters.